Greetings, 5th and 6th graders. It is time for English class. Please take out your English hardcover book. You do not need your workbook today, just your English hardcover book. Today we're going to learn about adverbs. We're going to take it a step further than last time. Last time we worked on adverbs that modify verbs. Today we're going to work on adverbs that modify adjectives and other adverbs. So taking it a step farther, you can open up to page 229. While you open up to 229, let's say the Bible verse together. Ready, set, go. John 10, verse 27 to 28. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they will never perish, and no one will snatch them out of my hand. All right, adverbs that modify things like adjectives and other adverbs. First sentence here, let's look at this. A very large crowd gathered. A very large crowd gathered. I want to point out this word, crowd. Crowd is a noun. It's a person, place, thing, or idea. It's a crowd. It's a thing. It's a group of people. It's a noun. Now, what word in this sentence, a very large crowd gathered, what describes the crowd? All right, large. It's a large crowd. Because large describes a noun, it's an adjective. Adjectives describe nouns. We worked on this a couple weeks ago, but a little bit of review. Adjectives describe nouns. Now, some adverbs describe adjectives. Does any word in here describe how large this crowd is? A very large crowd gathered. What describes large? How large? Very large. Very, see it's turning blue, is our adverb. It's an adverb that modifies or describes the word large. It tells us how large. How large? Very large. Very is an adverb. It's actually a very commonly used adverb. When you see the word very, chances are it's an adverb. Now, in your book on page 229, if you're following along, this is actually a larger sentence. Now let's look at the whole sentence. Here we go. A very large crowd gathered quite quickly. We're going to look at a different part of this sentence now. Look at the word gathered. Gathered. That's not a noun. It's not a person, place, thing, or idea. A very large crowd gathered quite quickly. Gathered sounds like an action word. Gathered is actually the verb. It's our action word. Now, we learned in our adverb lesson the last couple days that adverbs describe verbs. So does anything describe this verb gathered in the sentence? A very large crowd gathered quite quickly. What describes gathered? Maybe like how they gathered? What answers how they gathered? All right, quickly they gathered. They gathered quickly. Quickly describes or modifies the word gathered. Quickly is an adverb. Okay? We have an adverb modifying a verb. Now, we already learned that, though. Does anything tell us how quickly the crowd gathered? A very large crowd gathered quite quickly. How quickly? Quite quickly. This is an example of the word quite, which is blue. It's an adverb. It's an adverb that modifies or changes another adverb. Quite tells us how quickly. How quickly? Quite quickly. It's an example of an adverb modifying another adverb. So here we go. It's an adverb, and there's the arrow. Quite is an adverb modifying another adverb quickly. All right. And that is it for the examples. Let's move on to guided practice. Guided practice. What word does each adverb modify? And they underline the adverb. We need to identify what it's modifying, what it's changing or describing. Number one, dreadfully long way. Dreadfully describes what? Describes long. How long? Dreadfully long, like those long car trips. How long of a car trip? Oh, dreadfully long. Dreadfully is our adverb. It's describing or modifying the word long. Number 2, completely safe elevator. Completely describes what or modifies what? Completely what? Completely safe. How safe? Completely safe. And if I'm riding an elevator, I want to ride in a completely safe elevator as well. Number 3, reads quite carefully. Reads quite carefully. Quite describes what? Carefully. Yep. How carefully? Quite carefully. Quite describes carefully. Number 4, very realistic dreams. Very realistic dreams. Very describes what? Realistic. Again, remember, the word very is almost always going to be used as an adverb. Number 5, writes especially well. Writes especially well. Especially describes what? Well? How well? Especially well. Especially describes well. Especially is our adverb. Number 6, sing very beautifully. Sing very beautifully. Very describes beautifully. Very good. Remember, very is almost always an adverb. Also, you might notice in these examples, most adverbs, not all of them, most adverbs end with an ly. There you go. Helpful hints. Very is a very commonly used adverb, and many adverbs end in ly. All right, your assignment for today is page 229. Sorry, I forgot to change that page number. 229. You're doing numbers 7 through 12, and you're going to do the writing application. Look at numbers 7 through 12 either on the screen or in your book right now. The directions say write each underlined adverb. You won't have to do that in the Google form. I put it in capital letters for you because I can't underline it. Then write the word it modifies and label it adjective or adverb. Okay, I'm not going to ask you to label it adjective or adverb. I am going to ask you to figure out what it modifies. So you're going to do just the same thing we did in our guided practice. So look at the example. The photographer was very happy. Very is underlined. In your Google form, it'll be in all capital letters. Very describes what? The photographer was very happy. Very what? Happy. Okay? Happy is the word that you'll have to identify in the Google form. Then you're going to look at the writing application. A paragraph. Write a paragraph, yep, just one, a paragraph that explains why you enjoy a hobby or a sport. So choose a hobby or sport that you enjoy and write a paragraph about it. Use adverbs to modify adjectives or other adverbs. One example could be, right now Mrs. Orick's hobby is sewing, because I can do that at home and I have supplies at home. I am learning to sew quite carefully. Carefully describes how I sew most of the time. And then how carefully? Quite carefully. So again, I just spoke a sentence with 2 adverbs in. So put adverbs into your writing. Okay? 1 paragraph writing application. You're going to fill that in the Google form. So in summary, you're going to do page 229, numbers 7 through 12 in the Google form, and you're also going to write 1 paragraph using adverbs explaining why you like a particular hobby or sport. Put all your answers into the Google form. Remember, if your internet is spotty or it goes out on you sometimes, I really recommend writing all your answers down on paper first and then putting them into the Google form. That way, if your Chromebook goes down or your internet goes out, you don't lose your work and you don't have to start over again, because that is sad when that happens. I hope that's not happening to you, but that's one way to protect yourself if it is. All right, adverbs, remember. I hope you have a very special day. Very adverb, got it. Bye.